We don't live for the collective, we live for our freedoms.
His family piled into a taxi with just a bag of belongings. Abdul Rashid Shahzad hoped this was farewell to Kabul's dust-covered streets.
Yeah, heading to the airport, hope to make it and survive.
The 34-year-old former Afghan interpreter knew their chance for escape was slim.
That's a Taliban vehicle right there with the white flag.
But as the father of 3 young boys, the alternative was not an option.
That's Ali Akbar, that's my wife right there. This is me, and this is Ali Abbas, and that's Ali Umed right there.
Once at the airport, Rashid realised he'd made a mistake. His eldest child nearly trampled in a chaotic sea of humanity, also desperate for a way out.
That's the Marine gate right there. There is no way to get inside.
This was the family's second attempt at the airport within days, and as darkness fell, reality set in.
With this crowd, it's impossible.
We met Rashid last month in Kabul while doing a story on Afghan interpreters who'd worked with the US military only to be left behind. A number of them had recently been executed by the Taliban, and Rashid, among others, feared they would also be killed. Rashid had spent 5 years working for the US Special Forces. SEAL commanders describing him as a valuable and necessary asset who braved enemy fire and undoubtedly saved the lives of Americans and Afghans alike.
These guys were your American brothers?
American brothers, yeah.
But at the end of 2013, his contract was terminated after he failed a polygraph test. So when he later applied for an SIV to the United States, his application was automatically denied. Rashid and I kept in touch after I left Afghanistan. And in a matter of weeks, the country had collapsed and was now under Taliban rule.
I don't want to be killed by the Taliban. They're gonna cut our heads off if they find my location. Please help.
CNN evacuated staff from Kabul with the help of a security team on the ground working with British paratroopers inside the airport. The channel established was now an opportunity for Rashid.
Assalamu alaikum. CNN, sir.
Before dawn on Sunday, 22nd of August, Rashid, his family and another 9 people were picked up at a location near the airport. They were driven close to a Taliban checkpoint near the Baron Hotel back gate, manned by the British.
We are at the back gate of Camp Baron. We are so close to the gate. If they just come to the gate, they can see us. They can see us from the tower.
In less than an hour, British paratroopers let them in.
Hey Anna, we good. We are inside now. Thank you so much.
But celebrations were short-lived. US Marines would not allow Rashid and his family past the checkpoint because they did not have a visa.
The Americans asked just for US visa and US passport. That's it.
A frantic 7 hours ensued as messages and phone calls between London, Hong Kong, Atlanta, Virginia and Kabul were made, coordinating with security on the ground. Once his identity was confirmed, they were through.
We are at the airport terminal. We made it. We are really excited.
For almost 2 days, they waited patiently at the airport as thousands of fellow Afghans were airlifted to a new life.
Another aircraft about to take off. Lots of Marines there.
Then it was their turn, exhausted but happy, aboard a C-130 to the US base in Bahrain.
We are in Bahrain.
Less than 24 hours later, they were on the move again.
Somebody knocked our door and they said, pack your stuffs up, you got a flight now. We are so excited. We still don't know where we are heading to, so hopefully it's US.
And sure enough, their wish had come true.
Our aircraft is landing in DC, that's Washington. We are this close, everybody is excited.
In the space of 4 days, they were on US soil.
How does it feel to be in America?
We are so lucky that we are safe. It is beautiful to be here. We were the luckiest people,
Housed at Fort Lee Military Base, Virginia, while his SIV is processed, Rashid was reunited with a SEAL team member who he hadn't seen for 9 years.
Glad you guys did it.
A second chance at life for an eternally grateful family whose hearts may remain in Afghanistan, but whose future now lies a world away. Anna Corrin, CNN, Hong Kong.
We don't live for the collective. We live for our freedoms, our rights as parents.
Let's get your kids out of these government-run schools. These tyrants got to go. They don't care about your children. As a matter of fact, they hate them. They hate your kids. They hate my kids. They hate your kids. They hate my kids. Get it? Okay.
And I have a question. When a student vomits in the mask and they aspirate, possibly causing pneumonia, what will you do? You mandated it on their face.
These are demonic entities, and we need to stick together. Remember, we have authority in Christ Jesus. These are demonic entities in all the school boards of all the United States of America, and all of us Christians will be sticking together to take them all out.
Wash your hands and say your prayers. Jesus and germs are everywhere. Don't be compelled by fear or by force. Listen to God. He is our source. He doesn't give fear but power, love, and a sound mind. Reject the propaganda and we will be fine.
This is not the America you know. This is infested by communist, Marxist tyrants. What you see up there, they're nothing but Marxists and tyrants.
This board is only focused on forced mask mandates, raising our taxes, and making our kids believe they can change their gender at any given moment, or maybe encouraging them into thinking they can identify as a zebra. All of these have one thing in common. It's a radical left agenda.
I want to talk about the real pandemic, child sex trafficking. By putting masks on these kids' face, you can't identify any of them. So by the 9 of you already voting on this, tells me you guys support sex trafficking.
So how long are we going to keep up this charade? How many more variants are going to arise to make you feel you need to keep masking?
My child not covering her face has no bearing on the child that covers theirs. I feel safe in my choice for my child. We don't live for the collective. We live for our freedoms, our rights as parents.
The Taliban now has access to over $85 billion worth of American military equipment.
$83 billion worth of equipment. $83 billion, and it's the best equipment in the world, and we just left it.
85 billion plus that were left behind and now are going to be used against us by terrorists and our enemies.
$85 billion worth of equipment has been left for the Taliban.
$83 billion.
$85 billion worth of military equipment.
$83 billion with a B. Most of that money was used on guns, ammunition, helicopters, and other equipment.
We have also demilitarized equipment that we did not bring out of the airport, 70 MRAPs, 27 Humvees, the little tactical vehicle that will never be driven again. Additionally, on the ramp at HKIA are a total of 73 aircraft. Those aircraft will never fly again.
Now we believe that about 100 to 200 Americans remain in Afghanistan with some intention to leave. Most of those who remain are dual citizens, long-time residents who had earlier decided to stay because of their family roots in Afghanistan. The bottom line, 90% of Americans in Afghanistan who wanted to leave were able to leave. And for those remaining Americans, there is no deadline. We remain committed to get them out if they want to come out. Secretary of State Blinken is leading the continued diplomatic efforts to ensure safe passage for any American, Afghan partner, or foreign national who wants to leave Afghanistan. In fact, just yesterday, the United Nations Security Council passed a resolution that sent a clear message about what the international community expects the Taliban to deliver on moving forward, notably freedom of travel, freedom to leave. The Taliban has made public commitments, broadcast on television and radio across Afghanistan, on safe passage for anyone wanting to leave, including those who worked alongside Americans. We don't take them by their word alone, but by their actions. And we have leverage to make sure those commitments are met.
The president said that any additional evacuations will go through diplomatic channels and that the United States has leverage over the Taliban. Can you tell us what those channels look like and what kind of leverage the United States has?
Absolutely. Well, first I would say I would point you to the remarks that the Secretary of State provided last night, but let me give you some highlights of that. We have enormous leverage over the Taliban, including access to the global marketplace. That's not a small, it's not a small piece of leverage. And in order to gain access to the global marketplace, we're going to be watching closely, as will the global community. I would note that yesterday the UN Security Council also passed a resolution that made clear to what the expectation is in terms of safe travel. And evacuation or departure, I should say, of individuals who want to leave Afghanistan. And nearly half of the countries in the world have also signed on to a statement making clear that is the expectation. That's the diplomatic side, and the other diplomatic components that our Secretary of State will be focused on include establishing a presence in Doha, which is already underway, which is a place where we will be able to operate from diplomatically. So we can have access with consular officers and diplomats who can engage with American citizens or others, our Afghan partners who want to depart. We're working to set that up now. The other piece is engagement with the Taliban, which will continue through our ongoing channels that we have with the Taliban on the diplomatic front.